mentioned the term socialism, Tracy. I think that raised an antenna. You said you wanted to comment a little bit on that.
Well, that's the red herring. I hate to use the word red, but the red herring that's always thrown up. And, you know, we have socialized medicine here in the United States. It's called the Veterans Administration.
Absolutely.
And in many respects, in some parts of the country, they are now utilizing that team approach and cutting costs because they have to. But I don't see any of these folks, namely Republicans, saying, oh, stop. We're going to stop health care for those veterans because that's real socialized medicine. Of course not. We have to understand what the efficiencies are in those systems where there are efficiencies, and when there are problems, there are problems. But it's not as though we can't look right here in the, you know, the continental United States to see where this, quote, socialized medicine is working or trying to work. And then finally, on that point, I'm gonna run back one more time. We talked about, you know, whether Obama is getting this message out. Well, number one, he's never going to hit the S word. He's never going to talk socialism because that's what they want to tag him with all the time. But he's truly an organizer. Everyone has come back and said, why isn't he taking the lead? Why isn't he telling them what should happen with this health care reform? And I think he's, you know, he's crazy like a fox in this regard. He's saying, no, you all are going to work with your constituents. You're going to come back with a plan that all the people are going to buy into. If it comes top bottom, I can't sell that. But if the people are demanding it, then it should pass. And so I'm interested to see how this organizer experience for him helps in passing or not passing healthcare reform in the United States.
Here's what the Philadelphia Inquirer said. It's high time Obama got off the sidelines, threw himself into this fight. You agree with that? Has he been on the sidelines, or is he in the fight, or
well,
what?
I think he's just starting to take the message to the people, and I think he will ramp that effort up the closer we get to an agreed upon message. Like I said before earlier in the show, you have two contingencies within the Democratic Party who are not seeing eye to eye. If he goes out and sells one package and that's not the package that's eventually agreed upon, it's like he has a disconnect and he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I think once the vision is clear, I think once the Democrats come to an agreement, look, the Democrats have the executive branch and the legislative branch, but they have to be clear and concise in their message. Unlike the Republicans, whenever they have an agenda, their marching orders are understood, everybody has their talking points, and they hit the ground running. And I think that the Democrats need to work on that. They need to maybe look at the Republican playbook when it comes to agendas and getting out their message. Because right now what's going to happen when Congress goes to break, you're going to have those conservative Democrats go back to their constituency and sell their plan. And you're going to have the Democrats who are not as conservative go back to their constituencies and sell their plan. And the American public is going to be confused because the press conferences that are going to come out of one part of the country are going to say one thing, and the press conferences coming out of another part of the country are going to say another thing. So the president needs to make sure that before he goes out to the American public that everybody is in alignment. And I think that once he does that, I think you'll see a lot more of him in as far as selling his plan.
And if I can add only this thing, I think he does best when he's at these town hall meetings and he allows people to tell their own stories. He's done a good job at setting the parameters, the four walls, but he needs to let people all over this country be on the news every single day at a town hall meeting telling their tales of why they need health care reform. That's what those 535 members of Congress need to hear, and they need to have it beat on them every single day.
Consider this point while we take a break. Well, the status of the health care plan and the outcome, will this make or break Obama, as some pundits are saying? It is an issue, and his fate depends on that. We're coming right back. Welcome back. This is Table Talk with Paul Boyer, Tracy Washington, and Blaine Bondi. And the question is, as some parts of the media is framing this issue, is this a watershed moment already for the president? I mean, is his administration and his success in getting his initiatives done weigh in on how successful he is with getting what he wants in his health care plan.
We've gone from comparing this man to President Lincoln to Emperor Napoleon, that this is going to be his Waterloo. I don't get it. He's been in office for what, 8 months now? No, it's not the watershed moment. They wish it was the watershed moment. There is going to be health care reform, I predict. What it looks like is what we all need to be concerned about.
And I think Tracy's absolutely right. I think this early in his administration, I think he has time to get health care reform through. I think that they were waiting to get a filibuster-proof Senate, which they did, and they had the majority of the votes in Congress. Now it's just going to be about them agreeing on what's going to be passed. And I think that Obama is genuine in his efforts to want to reach across the aisle and make sure that there's input. By all accounts, it's good to make sure that you don't miss anything. And sometimes your enemies are the people that are going to point out, the things that you miss, and you can't, dismiss that. So I think that, when it's all said and done, like Tracy said, I think we will have health care reform. What it looks like is still a big question mark. And I think that's what's going to be the thing that he has to hang his hat on. Yes. If it's not as thorough as he would like, I think people are going to criticize him for that. If it's overreaching, he's going to be criticized for that. So I think, he's a smart guy, obviously. I think he's going to negotiate it properly and make sure that whatever comes out of Congress is something that's a win-win for everyone.
Louisiana, our delegation, our congressional delegation, are they on board? Are they, most people speak to me about Senator Landrieu and her kind of, I don't know if I can be with this kind of stance. Any read on our delegation other than Landrieu?
I think that, the senior senator is, she's becoming more and more moderate. I think that she is no secret she's accepted large amounts of campaign donations from the insurance industry. And I think that, I think they have her ear. At the end of the day, they're the one that's helping finance her campaigns. She's going to have to listen to them, and they're probably donating a tremendous amount of money. There was an article, I believe, in the Washington Post this week, and it talked about how much money the members of Congress are getting flooded with in donations from the insurers. That's not by accident. That's by design. So
I think you're right there. Blaine Bondy, Tracy Washington, thank you so much. This has been Table Talk. We'll be with you next week with another issue. Stay tuned.